Welcome to TopSpot40 Music Docuseries, where we bring the stories behind the music to life.
When a voice like hers fills a room, everything else seems to fall quiet. You don't just hear Adele sing, you feel her living the song right alongside you, every crack and quiver carrying the weight of real life. That's the magic she's brought to millions, and it's a gift that started in the most ordinary of places. Picture a little girl in a North London flat, raised by her young single mom after her father left when she was just 3. There were no fancy music lessons or industry connections. Instead, there were dusty records piled up in the living room, Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, and the kind of soul music that taught her how to ache in all the right places. She'd stand on the coffee table with a hairbrush microphone, belting out songs far beyond her years while her mom clapped along. Those early days shaped everything. She wasn't trying to become a star. She was simply finding her truest way to speak. One of the stories that always makes me smile involves a boy, a broken heart, and a very determined run down a London street. She'd had one of those fights that leaves you breathless with anger and sadness all at once. When her boyfriend stormed out of the pub, she chased after him, literally running down the pavement in her heels. She tripped, of course, landing in a rather undignified heap. In that moment of pure foolishness and clarity, the phrase came to her, "chasing pavements." That single experience became her first hit, the song that announced to the world that here was an artist who turned her most embarrassing human moments into something universal. You can still hear the defiance and vulnerability in it, the way she refuses to apologize for feeling everything so deeply. Her friend posted a simple video online of her singing at a school event, nothing polished, just Adele at 15 pouring her heart into a song. That little clip on MySpace caught the attention of someone at XL Recordings. Before she knew it, this teenager who'd been working at a music store was in a studio making her first album. No grand plan, no calculated image, just a girl with an old soul in a young body. She named that debut after her age at the time, 19, and filled it with the kind of honest songwriting that made listeners feel less alone in their own messy love stories. But it was the next chapter that truly changed everything. Another relationship ended badly, the kind of devastating breakup that leaves you questioning who you are. Rather than hide from the pain, she poured it into her music. The result was an album that seemed to soundtrack heartbreaks around the globe. There's a particular story from that time that reveals so much about who she is. She'd learned that her ex had moved on and was getting married. Devastated, she sat at the piano and wrote what many consider her most devastating ballad. The way she captures that exact moment of seeing someone you loved find happiness with another person, it's almost too intimate to listen to alone. When she performed it live, audiences would weep openly, recognizing their own stories in hers. What many people don't know is how close we came to losing that voice forever. During the whirlwind that followed, she began experiencing terrible trouble with her throat. It turned out to be a hemorrhage on her vocal cords, the kind of injury that can end a singer's career. The surgery was risky. Doctors warned her she might never sound the same again. For someone whose entire identity was wrapped up in that powerful instrument, the fear was overwhelming. She spoke later about lying in her hospital bed wondering if she'd ever be able to do what she loved most. When she returned to the stage after months of careful recovery, the emotion was palpable. She sang with even greater appreciation for the gift she'd almost lost, and audiences embraced her more fiercely than ever. Through all the success, she's remained wonderfully, stubbornly herself. The woman who collects Grammys collects swear words too, and isn't afraid to use them. She's the artist who'll stop a show if she sees someone in the crowd who needs help, the one who laughs at her own fame even while living it. When she became a mother to her son, Angelo, everything shifted again. The little boy became her world, teaching her things no amount of applause ever could. The long gaps between albums weren't about perfectionism as much as they were about living first, raising her child, going through divorce, figuring out who she was beyond the spotlight. Her return with later music showed new depths. The powerhouse who once roared her pain could now sit with it more quietly, examining her own role in her heartbreak with a maturity that only comes with time. Songs about forgiveness, about motherhood, about the complicated love we carry for our parents, they all carry that same thread of raw honesty that made her famous in the first place. There's something deeply comforting about an artist who refuses to pretend. In an industry full of image and calculation, Adele has always shown up as the friend who's been through it too. The one who'll have a cup of tea with you and tell you the truth about love, that it hurts like hell sometimes, but it's still worth it. That you can be both powerful and vulnerable, successful and scared, famous and utterly normal. Listen to her music now and you'll hear all of it. The North London girl who loved Etta James records, the young woman chasing love down pavements, the mother trying to get it right, the survivor who protected her voice and her heart with equal care. Those 5 essential tracks that define her journey tell this full story better than any words could. The early fire of Chasing Pavements, the righteous anger of Rolling in the Deep, the devastating beauty of Someone Like You, the reflective grace of Hello, and the hard-won wisdom of Easy on Me. She matters today because she reminds us that our most painful moments can become our most meaningful ones. In a world that often rewards perfection, Adele celebrates the cracks in our hearts and shows us they're exactly where the light gets in. When she sings, we don't just remember our own stories, we remember that we're not alone in them. And somehow, through her voice, we find our way home again.
Thank you for joining us for TopSpot40 Music docuseries. Discover all the stories behind the music at TopSpot40.com. Until next time, keep the music playing.